Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful week. Thank you, Noran. Okay. All right. Oh. There wasn't any issue with your headphone. I don't think so. I was rather on mute. I was on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Noran. How was your week, by the way?
Fine. A little bit busy, but fine. Thank you.
It looks like me and you got the same thing. I'm also a little under the water, but
Yes.
we still have to bear with it. Yeah. Anyway, so it's better than you not being able to even get out from the house and then be able to do whatever you're supposed to do. So at least we are privileged to be still alive, and we got to do what we're supposed to do. All right.
Yes. I agree.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Awad. How are you?
Hello, Professor.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you,
going
Mr.
on. Well, my week was not that best. My daughter is sick,
Oh,
so we
again?
are on alert.
Boy. Anyway, I don't know. Probably we are running the same season with you. I'm not sure because all my kids also got they got flu somehow. So all of them are
Well, it seems
coughing.
it's everywhere. Same symptoms. Okay,
That's what I think.
fever, coughing, runny nose.
Exactly, exactly. But as soon as you start experiencing those symptoms, you got to check if you do have the COVID. If you don't have um, the um, the at-home kit that you can use to check, you just rush to any facility which is nearer for them to check it for you.
Well, Professor, I think we can consider it COVID until it is not. I don't consider it as flu. It's by default now it is COVID. Okay, if managed to be a flu, then thanks God.
So, so as soon as me, just that, like I'm telling you, as soon as I started experiencing this, I had to check it to make sure that I'm not positive, you know, and
Uh-huh.
that is very important. I have to do the same for all the kids and the family, just to make sure that
Yes.
you are in the right direction. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, I hope everybody gets well and then keep moving forward. All right, Rhodas,
I hope so.
Judlin, how are you? Are you there?
Yes, Professor, I'm here. I'm good. My week was
Okay.
a bit busy too, but yeah, I'm good.
All right. All right. Good to hear that.
Hi,
Judlin,
Sam. Hi, Sam. Good
yes.
morning.
Morning. How are you?
It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. Ulia, how you feel? How you feel, Ulia? I probably think you always have a poor connection. I'm not sure. Maybe same is going on today. Anyway, yes, she's typing. You can hear, you can see that. Yeah, it's okay. I hope she's doing well. So, um, we are back again with another topic this weekend. Little by little, we are in the fourth week. We're gonna get out no matter what it is. We just have to also keep pushing, make sure that we persevere in everything we do. I know it's not easy, can be difficult, and sometimes under this condition where kids are sick, you yourself, and it's not easy. Yeah, thank you, Leah. Yeah, I wanted to know if you are doing well. Good. So, it's not going to be easy, but like I always say, to be able to achieve your goals in education, you have to be very determined, committed to whatever you are doing, and you should be very, very prepared to at least face the challenge. It's not going to be easy at all, but I can assure you, once you are determined, you will be able to at least get through with no issues, you know. So today, that brings us to another wonderful topic, as I was saying. That is, we're going to be dealing with, normally we will always hear, sorry, we will always hear that people are talking about crime. Oh, this is a crime. What is that? He's a criminal. What happened? There's a criminal scene right there, or there's a crime scene right there, and this person is a criminal, or he has committed a crime. You go to court, you hear people talking about crime. What is civil law, criminal law? What is that? So today, that's where we're going to be focusing on, and we'll be able to at least understand in details what specifically crime or criminal law is all about, and what entails in criminal law, and something comes up, you'll be able to at least differentiate between what a crime is, and probably if you want to at least relate it to civil, you can be able to also do that. Whether it's a tort or it's a crime, you'll be able to at least establish that by the end of this section. So let's quickly go there. Like I think I did posted the additional material to you this weekend, although I don't prepare that earlier than before, but I think I did posted that for you to be able to have that also. So let me see if we can go here and then get through this program quickly. Before then, anybody have a question? Anybody have a question? No question? All right, good. So that is what we are dealing with today, criminal law. I know most of us have heard that before. Criminal law, criminal law, criminal law, what it is. Why do we say criminal law? How different is it from civil law or torts and all other stuff? By the end of this section, we should be able to at least understand in details what that means. So by the end of the day, all that we are trying to establish, all that we are trying to acquire from this particular session or this class is to be able to at least define what crime is, and also be able to distinguish crime and what torts. Okay, should be able to at least know the difference, know why this is this and why that is that, or what is this and what is that. You should be able to at least distinguish between that and be able to also define it. Again, we should be able to identify, the three major classifications of crimes. Okay, crimes can be described or classified under three major categories, and we should be able to at least identify them, talk about them, what they mean, what it really means when those three items or three categories are being mentioned. How do they affect you in business? How do they affect us? We need to know about all this, and by the end of the day, we should be able to also do that. Again, we should be able to discuss several common crimes of particular concern to business. Okay, we should be able to also do that by the end of the day and relate it to our personal life as well. We should be able to do that. So that is what we have, and we are expecting to do what? Be able to get through this by the end of the day, and then that's what we're gonna have. Now, like I said, we've been saying crime. What is that? When we do say crime, I'm not sure if a crime in somewhere in the south is going to be different from a crime somewhere in the north, or a crime somewhere in the east is going to be different from a crime somewhere in the west. Every crime is a crime, into quotation marks. Although sometimes religion tend to do what? Affect certain things, but I am quick to say religion, tradition, like we heard last week, culture tend to sometimes affect certain things, but soon as we talk about crime, it is crime. When you pull a gun and shoot somebody, it's a crime. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Although certain things can affect it when it comes to different backgrounds, different countries, and all those, but crime is a crime, no matter what it is. So crime is a crime. Anything that you do that is against the law, that is punishable by the state or federal government, it's a crime. So by definition, violation of a statute, that is an offense, okay, against society. Okay, whatever you are doing is against the society, it's against the public. Okay, at the end of the day, you will have its what? Its impact, and it's going to be a negative impact. Although that negative impact on you at the long run tend to do what? Tend to be positive, because they want to change the way you are doing, the way you are acting. Okay, so whatever you are doing against society, okay, becomes a crime. All right, statute that is an offense against society, public at large, which is punishable by state or the federal government. Okay, this is what we term as what? A crime. All right, so you cannot see a public bus, okay, and you tend to set it on fire. Okay, you cannot do that. It's for you and I, it's for the entire public. Okay, you cannot do that. You end up doing what? Having an issue with the state. Right? That is what we are trying to say. Anything that belongs to you and I, you try to destroy it, or something that is going to affect the public. Let me throw this one here. You might be working. Okay, you might be working in an office. All right. Sometimes we always tend to think like taking ammunitions or guns at people or at a community or something like that is the only way we tend to do criminal stuff. No. You might be working in a public office. You might be working in an office. Okay. You will be able to engage in some sort of fraudulent activities that it becomes crime, because it's against the public, or your actions or the impact is against what? The entire society. So you tend to have what? Have a criminal done against the public, and it's punishable by the state or federal government. All right. So sometimes we need to be able to get that from the get-go, not to think that when you went out there and then try to get a gun or something like that and shoot somebody, it's the only thing that tends to be a crime. All right. So that is a crime for you. When we say tort, what is tort? By the way, tort here is T-O-R-T. Please don't forget about that. Tort is a civil law. Why do we say that? Okay. It's something that we do against what? Another person. Okay. That is maybe to the person's physical well-being, his property, his reputation. I just go out there and I feel like, wow, I don't like Mr. Ward. What do I have to do? I have to write something bad against him, especially in politics. You find this very often, or sometimes even in business. Yes, you tend to see this a lot. Some organization will contract what we call it, media men to write something bad against your product. They do that just to ruin your reputation. Okay, this tends to become what? It becomes a civil law, a tort, and this can be tried also in the civil courts. Although sometimes it has its criminal part of it, because when it tends to affect the organization and its society, yes, the organization can also plead for the entire state to give it buttress in terms of prosecution. All right. So certain acts may be charged, okay, separately as criminal violation and as tort, like I just said. Okay. So although it's a civil violation, no matter what it is, also it's a civil crime. Sometimes it can be tried in both ways. Okay. That's what we have to know about that. Okay, so crime versus tort. Crime versus tort. Why statutory law determines that determine what constitutes a crime, many laws reflect principles derived from long-lasting common law. All right, a high degree of uniformity will always, okay, exist among states. Like I said, crime is a crime. Crime is a crime, but maybe up to a certain degree, certain things you do in your country, in wherever you find yourself, might be somehow different. Well, somebody will say abortion is legal somewhere in a country. Somebody will say it's a crime. Okay, so it tends not to differ that much, but sometimes. So it is very, very uncommon to see maybe a crime in a different state to not to be a crime in another state. When it's illegal, it becomes illegal, but it is very uncommon, okay, to see those isolation. For example, in United States, you tend to see that some states will accept marijuana, okay, as what? Legal, okay, but other states will not, and even to the federal level, all right, but most of the times, all these laws becomes similar, and when it's crime in one state, it possibly becomes a crime in another state. So, as I was saying, it's a high degree of uniformity normally exists among states. Like I said, thus a particular act to be legal in one state and illegal in another state is rare. It's very uncommon. It's very, very uncommon to see that. All right, although it does exist. Okay, although it does exist, probably in my country or in this country, if I put on suit, it might be illegal. You might go to somewhere else. If you put on suit, it might be legal. Okay, but it's not often. Okay, it's very, very uncommon. All right, so a current exception is, yes, marijuana. This is what I cited earlier on. Legal in few states in the United States, illegal in other states. Okay, and illegal under the federal drug laws. This is what I'm trying to put across. So sometimes you tend to see this, but in general, what is illegal or a crime is always going to be a crime in another place. I hope we do get what we are saying. Okay, now let's try to get into this quickly. Classifications of crimes. Classifications of crimes. Crimes in the United States are classified into three, and possibly almost everywhere you find yourself. You're going to hear this in every court that you enter into. Okay, you will hear these three categories of crimes. Okay, treason, you hear that. You hear felony, and you hear misdemeanor. Okay, you hear all these when you get into any court. And don't forget, we as business students, we tend to get associated to this kind of course and to understand this because we could be affected. Yes, We could be affected as board members. We could be affected as executive members. You know, sometimes when there is a problem with an organization, yes, when it goes to court, they will be able to hit you with a fine and all those. But at a point, the responsible organizational heads might end up getting what? Getting some punishable offense that can take them to imprisonment. Okay, so it's very important to know this and know what causes that, or what kind of issues can arise to be able to at least determine that this is what? This is a treason, this is a felony, this is misdemeanor. All right, should be able to understand that. Now, let's find out what is a treason. What's a treason? This is a very favorable word we normally hear. Normally, when we are talking about politics, we normally hear this. Yes, you want to subject the country into a whole lot of destabilization. You don't want peace in the country. So what do? For example, United States, you're trying to get into war against the United States, which is against the Constitution, Article 3, Section 3. Okay. Yes, you do have the same thing in wherever you find yourself. Okay, people want to do stuff to be able to bring that government down. All right, they're planning to oust that government, coup d'etats and all those. Sometimes what we say alone, okay, and our actions and our inactions tend to also be cited for that kind of crime. Okay, which is treason. I'm not sure. Anybody have any idea about the practical treason in his or her location right now? Any practical idea you want to share about treason?
Can I speak? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my case, as I've told you, I live in Ethiopia, but I'm from this one region, so there's war. So if I'm found with any photos of what do you call the warriors in Tigray, then I get to a prison. Anything, any songs, any photos, anything. So yeah, that's, I think, treason here.
All right, thank you, Rodas, for sharing that. You know, so songs, photos, purporting to cause that can take you into jail. All right, that is your actions and inactions. Okay, whatever you do could cause that kind of pain to you. All right, so it is very important for us to know as a businessman, and as business students, because when you come out there, you want to be a businessman, and along the line, you want to maybe attach yourself to a political party to be able to get contracts here and there, and eventually try to siphon money through that business and all those kind of, yes, this is what sometimes can happen to you. All right, so it's very important to know your bounds, your limits when you are in business. All right, I know somebody will say that if you are in business and you don't associate yourself with any political party, you might not end up getting any contract. Yes, but if you want to do a genuine business, you have to be straight. All right, as business students, you need to know this. So now, felony is a crime punishable by death, okay, or imprisonment in federal or state prison, okay, for a term exceeding 1 year. It's a felony. Okay, it's a felony, and we always have to be extra careful as to what we do. Like I said, it can this felony issue can get as far as into your business. Okay, people tend to accept positions in many top areas, and they don't have that requisite knowledge to be able to do what? To perform. and they end up doing what? They end up performing abysmally, and sometimes can lead them to that, you know. And this is why business students need to know this. You need to know that, hey, this is what I can do. I can go as far as at least managing these people, taking care of this much, and people cannot just use my inability or my incompetence to be able to do what? Run that administration or run that agency or run that organization down. That at the end of the day, you will be what? Irresponsible. All right. Sorry. Misdemeanor is a less serious crime, usually punishable by a fine, okay, and a prison sentence of less than 1 year, okay. This does not mean that it's a joke. If you are going to at least be in a prison for less than a year, assuming it's 6 months, you get there, you see how good it is. It is good to always make sure that you put yourself together. You put yourself together in a way not to at least offend the law or go on the other side of the law. As a business student, it helps you. So many things we do in business can lead us to this. Okay. So the fact that it's a less serious crime does not mean that it's okay. All right. So it's my wish that we will understand this and then find ways and means to avoid this in the course of our profession. Crimes in the business world. Crimes in the business world. Crimes do not, okay? Crimes do not involve force. This time around, no. You hardly see that. It's only those who do not really think smart that will take a gun and come to the bank, or they will take a gun and come and then perpetrate crime. These days, crime is done in a very quiet manner. All right, they sit somewhere in their rooms with an iPad, with a laptop, whatever it is, and then by the time you realize the deal is done, and we call it a done deal. All right, they don't use force. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's not always that crime will have to be what? Something which comes with force. Okay, especially in business, crime in business, you hardly, I'm not saying it doesn't sometimes, but it do not always involve force or violence against people or businesses. All right, it's done in a very simple way this time around. Okay, you might have an employee sitting in that organization doing so much good, in quotation, he's doing so much good to the company, but very nice person, very nice personality. He smiles, he have a lunch with the fellow employees, colleagues, and all those. That person might be doing so much damage to the organization. Might be stealing the company's money here and there, embezzlement and all those, you know. And this is what we are saying. This person will not have arms. He will not do that with force. In a very smart way, the person will do that. But guess what? Smart way you do that, smart way will catch you. No matter what it is, we'll find a way to bring you to the books. So business crimes may also occur in the office over telephone. Yep, computer systems, like I said, in social occasions and locations where employees may meet. Okay, this is what happens. This is what happens. Now, crime and fraud has been so sophisticated that if you don't take time, you might think, oh, this is okay, but it's not okay. It's not okay. To the extent that we will be able, or this hoodlums will be able to do what? Even capture you like I'm talking and be able to do what? use that same way to do what? Defraud somebody else, thinking it's you. I'll be talking like this, okay? And guess what? They will be able to do that. So now, if you are not smart, you don't know what is going on, you will be, by the time you realize, you find yourself on the other side. Those in business, we in business should be smart. We should always be able to do what? To go a little further, all right? So that we will not just allow these guys to at least just hurt the companies that we do work for. When you get out from your desk, the very first thing you do before you get out, even if it's a coffee you're gonna take, all right? You log out. And I keep saying this to my employees, you log out. Because as soon as you come out, somebody will be able to do that. It will get to you. You know, although that person might be in the organization, today there are so many funny ways of doing it. They can send you a fooling message that we normally call phishing, okay? And then you also do what? Be able to respond. Thinking it's your employees. Thinking it's one of your bosses, okay? There have been incidents that employees who are in certain capacities have been fooled to do what? To issue checks of huge amount. To do what? To transfer money, wire transfers of huge amount, because the email is purported to come from the right source. Meanwhile, it doesn't. You have to be very smart. Like we always say in fraud, everything you do, you ask yourself, does it make sense? Does it make sense? Everything you do, you ask yourself, does it make sense? So before you act in the organization you represent, before you act at the workplace, you ask yourself, does it make sense? Okay? If it does not make sense, then you have to back out, think twice, and see how to act. If you do not, then you're going to cause a big mayhem for the organization. Okay? So that is business crimes in the world. All right? Now, crimes in business, in the business world, crimes in the business world. What are they? Let's see some of them. We do have security frauds. Security frauds. Yes. Security frauds. What is that? I mean, this organization that I have that opportunity to see how stocks are doing. Therefore, my friends are Ulia, Noran, Sarah, Judlin, Rodas, Ahmed, and all those, Chan, and all those. So I have to give them that information for them to make the money, and then I go and get mine, get my cut, get my kickback. Security frauds. Okay, this can happen anywhere in the world, and we need to be very, very careful. That's why when we are employing, Mr. Awad will know much about that. When we are employing people, we tend to do what? Do their background check. But guess what? Normally you have somebody with a very clean background check. But so many things can cause the person to do that. Why? The person might be in stress, looking for money. Okay? The person is in a tight corner. You see, whenever you don't have money, you tend to do so many things that if you are not matured, it will be negative. So in business, you got to be smart. What is this? We also have arson. Yes, these are some of the things that we sometimes don't even want to talk about. Okay, I mean, short. You know, sometimes we do that to our own self. When we talk about arson, we sometimes do to our own self. Okay, we cause damage to our own property because of what? Insurance. Because we want to make money, we tend to do what? Cause damage to our own property. We burn the house because we cannot pay, because we are in distress of money. Okay, we burn the property because we owe rent, we owe mortgages, because the business is not doing well. then we end up to do what? We end up reporting it to the insurance company so that the insurance company will pay that. We got to be careful because there is investigation and all the time it's going to bring you out. Okay, we got to be extra careful. All right, it's something that we do all the time. We have bribery. Bribery is the big boss. Wherever you go, you tend to see bribery. Okay, and people will say exchange is no exchange is. I don't have that, but I'll tell you when that comes in. You know, you give somebody something, and then that person will also give you something. You know, exchange is no robbery. That's what they will say. You know, that is in bribery, but it's not a good thing. Okay, and don't forget, exchange is always different from extortion. In exchange, bribery is different from extortion because with bribery, both of the payees and the recipient and then the payee do accept it. They get to do what? Have some sort of understanding. But the extortion, I'm using force to take that from you. Okay, so they will tell you that exchange is no robbery, but it is robbery. Okay, so bribery tends to do so many harm to our society, our organizations, the country, and wherever we are. Bribery is not the best, as you always tend to consider those less privileged ones, because as you can pay $5, $10, $20, $100,000 to be able to get a contract, somebody cannot do that. And look at that impact it will also have. The negative impact is that when you tend to receive that $100,000 as bribe, what do you think? Wouldn't that influence the person to do a negative or shoddy work? This is what's going to happen, because already a chunk of the money you're supposed to use for the project is gone. So you end up doing what? Cutting corners with the project. And you are doing what? Affecting the society as well. Okay, so bribery, false pretense. Yes, you come before me for a commissioning, and then I tell you to raise your hand. I said, I solemnly swear that this is the genuine and true information, and this is my ID that you used to endorse the form for me. You raise up your hand, you say this, I say, okay, you are swear, you do all that. Then I endorse the form for you. Guess what? You brought me a fake ID. You are not the person. Although we have ID detectors that will be able to also check. We have a fraud detectors that will be able to do that, be able to check and see who is doing that. This is just like a pen. I'll be able to see what is going on. But the point is, at the end of the day, okay, you are lying before a public officer. Okay, you lying before a public officer, and this is what makes it what very, very important, that when they bring you before the law court, you'll be in trouble. Okay, we also have what we term as forgery. Normally, you don't see that here. These days, you don't see that normally, because it has been improved so much that they'll clone it for you. They will clone it, so they will not even say forgery. They will clone it. All right. You try to sign my name. You try to change the signature for it to look like it's me. All these things can be detected. So in business, we need to know this, that if you are in organization, you do something wrong, own up than to try to cover it, because eventually investigation will bring this up and you'll be on the other side of the law. All right. So it's always better for you to do what? Be matured. That is why you are responsible for that position that you find yourself. You do something wrong, you own up. You don't try to at least forge or try to cover it with so many things. Okay, this is what we are trying to put up across. Larceny, we all know that. Larceny, we all know that. That is the big brother of money laundering. You go make the dirty money and you want to find a way to make it look clean. All right. You go make the dirty money. You want to find a way to make it look clean. You are a public officer. You took all those bribes here and there, back and forth, and then now you want to establish an organization. You want to do so many things to make that money look clean. You're going to be caught, because we will tend to find out through investigation that how much were you making. Okay, we have the records. Each month you make this or that and that. So how come did you get all these funds to be able to establish this? You'll be caught. No matter what it is, you'll be caught. So it is better for you to know this and then learn from the get-go, so that you don't get yourself involved in all those kind of things. It's not going to help you. Okay, we do have perjury. Okay, perjury. Yes. Sorry. Perjury is what I did explain earlier on, that lying before a public commissioner and enforcement. All right. And then we do have embezzlement. We all know what it is. We all know what it is. You are in an organization. You have been entrusted to take care of these funds. Use these funds for this and that. But for you, you want to do what? You want to make sure that your pocket feels good, because whatever they are paying you is not enough. If it's not enough, you have to get a side job. Get something else to do. Don't put yourself in that corner. Never and ever also think that let me borrow from today and tomorrow I'll put it back, because you borrow today, tomorrow you cannot put it back. You're going to go borrow again. That money becomes so huge, you cannot pay back and you'll be in trouble. So that is what it is, embezzlement. We do have extortion. All of us are aware of it. Extortion. Those of us in a high capacity, okay, we are operating in high offices. All right. If you do not pay this, I'm not signing the document. What is the impact on society? What is the impact on the community? And what is the impact on the individual? Many a times we force people to do the wrong when we are in certain capacities that we're supposed to sign or issue documents to people, issue certificates to people. When we tend to put that kind of extortion behavior ahead of that, we tend to force people to do what is wrong. Because at the end of the day, probably they cannot pay that money. So they will go back and then they will be forced to even operate without getting the licenses, certificates, or whatever it is. Because now you are making it difficult for them. All right. Again, when you do that, you are preventing the organization, you are preventing the state, the federal government from the funds, the little taxes, the little money that they are making from your department. Sorry. But at the end of the day, when the month's kick out, when that week ends, you expect to do what? To receive a pay. After those 2 weeks, you expect to receive a pay. At the end of the month, you expect to receive a pay. Meanwhile, you sit at the same office and prevent the very payer of yours to get what is needed to be able to pay you. It is very important for you to know this, that it can take you to the jail. It can take you to jail. All right. We also have consumer and government contract fraud. Yeah, this happens a lot. In procurement, I'm not sure those who are in procurement. Yes, this does happen. A whole lot of fraud going on in the procurement industry. Okay, we tend to see government entities, agencies with their CEOs, bosses here and there, finding every means to steal. He will be in charge of the procurement, but he will have a side organization, a side company that he has established to be able to do what? Compete with the rest, to be able to make the money. So before they come to tender, his or her organization have all the necessary information and they will win the bid. This is fraud. And no matter what it is, investigation is going to bring you out. Investigations is going to bring you out. And one day you feel like, had I known? But I'm telling you right now, so that you don't go into that kind of trouble. Again, tax evasion or fraud. Yes, in the United States, you tend to see that much. Tax evasion or fraud. Okay. At the end of the day, we are finding every way, okay, to illegally stay away from paying taxes. Okay. And if we do not take time, it will get to a point we'll be in a very big issue. And even if not so, one thing you have to know is you are depriving the state, you are depriving the federal government from making that taxes to develop the country, to develop the society, to develop the community you find yourself. And the most hurtful part is the very people who try to stay away from paying taxes are the same people who complain the most. Okay, so tax evasion is a very big issue. All right, although there's something we call tax avoidance. You can still use the same tax codes, provided the waivers in the system, the tax code, to avoid or to reduce your taxes. But trying to steal from taxes or trying to not pay the right taxes without using the right regulations, it's against the law. This is what we do have as business crimes, which you normally see in the world. There are others. There are so many of them, but these are some of them that you'll be able to see wherever you are in the world. Now, white collar crime. White collar crime. Who can tell us what it is? Is it because we are wearing white suit and then black black tie? Is that a reason why it's called white collar crime? Anybody out there?
I know that white collar is what we call anyone who is working in an office. Management, administration, managerial level.
Good. Clean. What do we call it? It spans through all the employees in the office, even if you're a clerk. Okay. Even if you are a clerk sitting behind a computer and receiving calls, you are part of it. You are in a tie. Right? Thank you, Mr. Awad. Thank you for that. So, white-collar crimes describe category of crimes typically financial related that do not involve force or violence by or against a business. Okay? So, I'm a clerk. Normally, people don't even know that the noble clerk sitting at the very entrance of the office, okay, is the negotiator of the deal for the big boss who is inside there. That clerk that you do not respect is in charge. Because at the end of the day, you might see him to be sitting on a very small desk. He's not in an air-conditioned office, but he is the initiator. He's in charge. At the end of the day, he takes every deal that comes in on behalf of the boss. And it is very important for us to always watch this. You get to a very organization, and the very first person you see who's supposed to make sure that the organization's image is represented in a very nice way, that is the person who is going to do what? Bring the organization down. And we have to be alert as prospective executives, as prospective managers, as prospective leaders. We have to be very watchful of that. As you are the most hardworking executive, I always say you don't have to be an armchair manager. You see, there is an arm here over there for me. See, you don't have to sit in there like that, armchair manager. And then you put a suit like that every day. You should be visibly seen all the time. Okay? Do not just sit in your AC room and think you are managing and think you are in charge. Sometimes impromptu, just step up there, step out there, see what is going on. Okay, step out there, talk to customers in an impromptu manner, find out what is wrong with them. As a good leader, you don't sit at the office all the time. As a good leader, again, look at my hands, has to be dirty sometimes. In the United States, we always say, if you are the boss, you do more. If you are the boss, you do more. So if you want to be a boss, sitting in the swivel chair and going like that, okay, going like that, at the end of the day, those people, those small boys that are not in the air condition will be eating in a very nice way. Okay, be prepared to go to the office and work. And working is not by sitting at the office alone. All right, so white collar crime, that's what we have. So depending on the seriousness and particular state of federal law, a white collar crime may be a felony or a misdemeanor. I said this earlier on. So a white crime can be a felony. It can be what? A felony. So if you are the executive, if you are the boss, if you are the leader, you got to be very smart. You got to shine your eyes. Be ready to see and see well. It's sometimes very okay to be very open and be playful and all those, but you got to be firm, you got to be fair, and then you have to be what? Very, very free with all those employees. Okay, so at the end of the day, you are in for a business, and whatever you do, you have to know that its impact can be negatively or positively affected to the organization. So this time around in the United States, there has been laws, okay, that they have put in place to even make it very difficult and punishable when you get involved in white collar crimes. Okay, so laws governing white collar crimes have been expanded at the federal and the state laws in the United States. Okay, so at the end of the day, you don't have to think that it's okay to do whatever you want. No, you will be punished. You'll be punished. So RICO will be able to tell you. RICO will be able to tell you that is one of the most successful federal laws used to combat white collar crimes. Okay, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act of 1970. That is RICO. Okay, RICO. It prevents organizations employees from engaging in a pattern of racketeering or illegal acts. Okay, you are the boss, so you sit in there and you find a way to do what? To approve contracts and then get kickbacks. It's not going to happen. Investigations will bring you out. Under RICO, it is easier to prosecute corrupt organizations and seize illegally obtained assets. Okay, when you do that, when you make that illicit money, when you make that illegal money, now you go back to make it look clean. The dirty money, you want to clean it. You know, this is what RICO is going to prevent you from doing, and you will be prosecuted. And you have to be very watchful when it comes to that. It's very important. As business students, we should be able to at least stay away from these kind of issues and also be able to preach to our employees that we tend to manage them so that they will always try to do what is expected of them. Securities fraud, we've spoken about that. Securities fraud occurs when a person or company provides false information to potential investors, okay, intended to influence decision to buy or sell securities. I'm your brother. Aware is my buddy. Okay, so when this stock is gonna do well, I'm the first person for him to call. I'm the first person for him to test. Okay, probably I'm a very simple guy. If I make maybe $100,000, I can give him maybe 25 or 30. You know, so you call me for me to make that deal quickly. This is not going to cut because eventually you'll be caught. Eventually you'll be caught, and you have to be very, very careful. You might think it's okay today, but tomorrow will be a different story. All right, it's very important. So security frauds encompasses theft or investors' assets. Stock trading based on non-public information, as I said. Okay, wrongful manipulation of financial statements and or intentional false information. Those in accounting, you got to be careful. They will come. They will find every ways and means to get you to do the wrong thing. Yes. I have a customer who was asking me for a non-profit organization, and the financial secretary was asking me, "Oh, is everything okay? If the QuickBooks doesn't balance, please balance it for us." I said, "What do you mean?" If it doesn't balance it for us. Okay, at the end of the day, I have everything that is going on in their books jotted down, and it's going to be in their financial report for somebody to know that you issue checks. And those checks that you issue, sometimes they go to a well-known organizations, okay? But those checks tend to be an open check. And those open check, the funny aspect of it is it tends to be cashed by a member of that non-profit organization. What is going on here? If you are not an accountant, if you are not an investigator, if you are not an auditor, common sense should tell you there is an organization. They can accept a check and bank the check. Why? Is it that a representative or a member of a non-profit organization is rather receiving the check in place of that known organization, and that person is going to end up doing what? Paying the organization. That means if you are issuing that person $100, the organization might, the servicing organization might probably maybe earn $50. That is why, that is the only thing that will prevent you from making direct payment to the organization. Okay? If not so, issue the check to the organization. If it's a contractor, issue the check to the contractor. Do not issue the check to a representative of the non-profit organization. And from the trace that I had on a couple of them, you tend to see that every check that was issued, open check, was not cashed through the bank. They don't cash it through the bank. The reason is they are trying to prevent somebody from knowing who cashed that check. So they go to a check cashing place to go and cash it for money, so it doesn't go into the account. But one thing they don't know is when you go to the check cashing place, you have to provide your ID. And your ID, no matter what it is, investigation can show who cashed that check, because when that check cashing place is being subpoenaed to provide documents, we'll be able to see that. And this is what we have to know in business, that you cannot sweep anything under the carpet. You cannot sweep anything under the carpet. And we got to be careful in business, because when you try to steal the money, or when you were in distress, financial distress, you find every way to get the money. But now that auditors are in, you find every means to cover it. It cannot work. It cannot, because at the end of the day, we will find out. So, scholars, it's very important to know that in business, there are traces in everything you do, and people will be able to find out. Okay, so finally, sales by unlicensed stockbrokers. Okay, this is also a security fraud. It's a security fraud, and we need to be very eye-open on that. It's a security fraud. Now, let's see what we do have. Security frauds. Securities fraud. We call something a Ponzi scheme. I don't know if you are all aware of that. Ponzi scheme. Normally, what I say is people who want to be so selfish in life tend to go into some Ponzi scheme. Okay? Ponzi scheme. They will tell you that, oh, when you bring $5, by the end of the month, we will pay you maybe $7, which is even bigger than your principal. I'm not sure if anybody have experienced this out there before. Practically, can somebody share that with us?
Well, it's not something happened to me. Actually, it happened in Egypt many years ago. A company was doing the same thing, like invest, and they got huge amount of money, millions, and they were practically doing the same, getting from here, paying to that, and like this, until it's suddenly when they got the amount that they want, they ran away, and it was a huge scandal.
So it's very funny, right? I'm not sure how people
but smart in the same way. Smart.
Yes, Ahmed. Same thing happened here
smart.
too. Yes.
Go ahead, Rodas.
Yes, same thing happened here too. Actually, I believed them because I didn't know what Ponzi scheme was. So I was part of the, pay us. You have to invest 10,000 birr, and then you will get daily by doing tasks which were fake tasks. So we used to click thumbs up in every link and get money, but at the end they told us to upgrade to get more money, and then they went away with our money.
So that's a different level, right? So after what you are putting in, they are even requesting for more, for you to make more, right? So that is Ponzi scheme, and it hurts. It hurts. Sometimes you and I in education might know this, but others might not. You know, all their lifetime savings, they will take that and go and put it in there. And guess what? By the end of the day, they will take the money and run away. Because you know how Ahmed and Rodas explained, they take the initial ones, they take the money you bring, and then they used to pay the next batch. Okay? So we are three. The very first money they take, they will use it to do what? Pay those who came earlier. So you invest, they used to pay those who follow you. You invest, they used to pay those who follow you. At the end of the day, when they want to make maybe about $10,000, they make that money, that's it, they vamut. They run out of the scene with your what? With your investment. That's why I said earlier on, in fraud, everything you do, you ask yourself. I'm not sure if somebody remembers. You ask yourself, does it make sense? Does it make sense? If it does, then you have to move ahead or go ahead and do it. But if it doesn't make sense, retract, sit back, and then ask yourself more questions to stay away from that problem. Because there couldn't even be any organization, there wouldn't be any organization that will tell you to invest $5 and get $2.50 back. No. No organization will do that. Much more that invest $5 and you get a $5 at the end of the month. It sounds very appealing. It is too good to be true, people will say. you know, so be very, very watchful. And normally they tend to also do this with organizations. Oh, we will supply you this much of products. When you pay this amount, you have never dealt with that or a supplier before. You are the purchasing officer of the company. You have to be very smart. Okay, you have to be very smart, because if you don't take time, you will find yourself against the law because you make that issuance of the check. So being a representative of the organization, you don't have to let an organization or some hoodlums swindle you to use the company's money in error. Okay, it could be constant financial loss to that organization. That's why you are being trained. That's why you are going through this process, and to be able to get knowledge. So we also call that Ponzi scheme, we also call them pyramid scheme. I know the reason. I'm not sure if somebody knows the reason why we call it pyramid. Do we all know pyramid? Okay, so pyramid schemes, this is what it is. These frauds ultimately collapse over time as promised returns to earlier investors become too large to cover income from new investors. See pyramid, okay? It starts from a little point and it goes to that kind of bigger level. I'm not sure if you all know, from the tip to the down, to the bottom part, you see how it is. So it expands. And when it gets to that point, they vanish from the scene. And this is why we have to be extra careful as business leaders, as scholars in business. We need to know this to be able to stay away from that. Yes, arson. We did mention that earlier on. You know, I'm in trouble as a businessman. I'm in trouble. My finances is not good. You know, I'm owing a whole lot in terms of I'm owing a lot in terms of what we call it, in terms of my rent, in terms of mortgage. I'm owing a lot. Okay. At the end of the day, what do? I want to find a way to be able to do what? In one day, clear my issues. So I will either try to burn the property to be able to get insurance. Okay? I'll burn the property to get insurance. Don't forget, arson is something that somebody else can also do to you. Okay? But we are talking about this situation where in business, you tend to do it yourself. You tend to do that yourself because you are in stress, financial stress, distress, that you want to find a way to balance your book. Like I said earlier on, he said, if the book doesn't balance it for me. Then at the end of the day, who will be blamed for doing something which is not right? So try as much as possible to stay away from this kind of problems, because again, investigations would show this. Investigation will bring this out, no matter what it is, that this is what is happening. Okay, so most state laws establish particular criminal penalties to persons who burn their own property with intent to collect insurance money. This is what it happens a lot in the United States. I'm not sure wherever you are, you have seen a brother or two families deciding to put their cars together to hit their cars on a head-on collision just to be able to get insurance money. I'm not sure if you have seen that before. You know, people can do that. Friends, you say, okay, let's meet here. I'm going to come from here. You're going to come from there. Then we crash the car. We get insurance money. This is what is going on in our world of fraud. You find out there are a whole lot of things that sometimes doesn't make sense. It sounds so stupid, but people are still doing it. So when you end up burning your property because you owe so much and they find out, guess what? You owe so much, or you have lost so much. Now you're going to lose everything because insurance will not pay. When investigation tends to find out that there is a problem and you are the cause of the problem, you are in trouble. So that is what it is. That is arson, and we got to be careful in dealing with that. So arson statutes establish a special category of crime called burning to defraud. Burning to defraud. Okay. In other parts of the world, political offices, when they spend the money, they squander all the money here and there, and they think people will have the records to prosecute them. They tend to set fire into that political office, into that agency or whatever office it is, so that the document that people will be able to trace will do what? Will get bent. But guess what? You forgot you're dealing with people. Those documents that you think you have bent them, somebody might have a copy. There might be a contractor you dealt with. That contractor has a copy. People were involved in that transaction. Those people are alive. Don't forget, apart from that, you know, dates and time is very important. And it can sometimes make an investigation so easy. You think you are done with that, but date and time alone will just bring you up there. It's very important to know this as we are climbing that ladder to be in the executive position in terms of management and in business. We need to be very careful. Insurance companies and law enforcement have developed sophisticated investigation techniques to combat these illegal practices. Yes. If you don't want to be in trouble, then you need to stay away, because eventually you're going to be in trouble. If you think you can cover it, if you think you can seal it, you got to be careful. Good. Example of arson. This is a very nice one. I'm not sure anybody has read this. You see, Filkins, the owner of a clothing manufacturer, was losing money. So he hired an arsonist. He hired somebody to set the building on fire. You see the motive? The motive is what? He's losing money. So when I set the building on fire, insurance, you're going to pay me. At the end of the day, I'm making the money, and my loss has been sealed. But guess what? The building, inventory, and equipment were insured. Insurance investigators and fire marshal find out evidence of what? Arson. Once they find this evidence, you are doomed. Assuming that property or the entire inventory in that property is about $80,000, and probably you are losing about $40,000. So you want to get the 40 and the 80, 120. You end up getting zero. And on top of that, you go to jail. So there is something we used to say, there is a balance we used to say, from frying pan. You see the frying pan, the pan we used to fry in there. When you get out from that, you're going to fall into a fire. So which one is going to be difficult? So you were struggling, losing money. Instead of you to strategically put something in place for you to be able to at least fight that kind of losses little by little, you want to make it one day. And at the end of the day, you're going to find yourself in the grips. All right, we got to be careful. So the insurance company refused to pay for the losses. Filkins and the arsonist were charged with the crime of arson. Okay, so we got to be careful in business. Sometimes it's very difficult. Yes, I have to accept that as a businessman. It's very difficult. You have to pay, especially I have to pay accountants malpractice insurance. I have to pay what do we call it? rent for my office. I have to pay the cable. I have to pay materials. I have to, a whole lot of things you have to pay. And at the end of the day, the business is not going as you expected for it to. So what you have to do, you still have to put in strategies to bring in more customers, to make more money, to cover your expenses. But if you want to go this way to be able to make that money, no, you're going to be in trouble. Now, we have the last name. Last name, yes. That is a general term, includes most of the thefts that you will find. Okay, last name. It may be a felony or misdemeanor based on the size. When it's big, we call it grand. when that theft is big, we call it grand. That's where you hear grand last name, right? So when it's small or petty, we call it small. Okay, depending upon the value of the stolen property. All right. Now, that type could be what? Robbery, taking of people property in the possession of another person against that person's will. No matter what it is, he's taking it from you. Okay, with a gun or whatever it is. Okay, you be in your house and you hear somebody banging at the door, trying to break into the door to be able to steal whatever you have in there. That is burglary. Or they go try to cut a portion of your window and go through the window and steal whatever it is. Lastly, burglary. You know, all these things are punishable by law. It is very important to get yourself to work. Have a plan and you'll be successful. You know, that is what is very important in life. So now, bribery, the almighty bribery. We've explained this already. You know, one good thing about bribery is whether it's you or myself, the receiver and the payer, we have done what? Agreed. I will take $20. Okay. Probably Awa doesn't want to receive a bribe. And who wants to receive bribe? I don't want to associate anybody. So not this class. So $20, I have accepted to pay $20 and the receiver have accepted to receive it. Okay. This is very dangerous. Okay. In the public service, you can also go to jail for this if you found guilty. Okay. But now, even some countries are making it enforceable that in the private sector, when you give bribes and you are being caught, you can be prosecuted, which is very good. It's very, very good because at the end of the day, it affects the entire community. It affects the entire country. It affects the global world. We have to understand that it's not everyone who can pay bribes. I remember some time ago, I went somewhere and whatever I want to do, I paid the money and I was supposed to receive a change. And the lady pretended like she doesn't know I'm supposed to receive a change. And when I questioned her, she was like, oh, sorry, I don't have this change. I said, okay, we are in the bank. You give me that money. Look for that money and give it to me. Because everybody coming in, I've seen you pretending like you don't have that special change. At the end of the day, if you keep $1 for each customer that comes to the bank to withdraw money in terms of money transfer, what will happen? If you serve 100 people, you are making $100. Okay, so you have to find a way to avoid paying bribes. You know, the fact that you give him allow him to keep that money, he will serve you quick. No, you have to stop that. Okay, so bribery consists of giving or taking money or property of value with intent to influence someone, or usually public official or business official, to act contrary to performance of their duty. You don't qualify. You don't qualify. I know if I call Ahmed and I don't even qualify for a position, he will give me a job. I'm not sure. But if the person doesn't qualify, why do you have to at least get the person into it with money? See, we call it the genesis or the basis of a problem. Okay, is the basis of a problem. Recruiting people who do not qualify based on friendship, based on money, based on gifts, you are recruiting problems. Because these same people will come out there without having any knowledge about what they are doing. They will end up doing what? Causing so much harm and damage to the organization. Either they will have a financial challenge and they will have any sort of issues with, or they will tamper with their every account you give them, or they will find a way to steal because they don't know what is going on, or people will even use them because they don't have the ethics, they don't have the background, they don't have the know-how. So if somebody come and throw a little money at them, they will also accept it because somebody received money before giving them the opportunity to come and sit there to work. So influencing people with money, okay? Influencing people with money, that is not the right thing. And people also at the offices being ready to receive that money to be able to act is not the best. We got to be very careful. Some states have enacted laws that make it crime to bribe some other than a public official. Like I said, you might be in private business, but when you get bribed, you can also be prosecuted. You can also be prosecuted, which is very, very important. Which is very, very important. So both the giver of the bribe and the receiver may be charged with what? Bribery. May be charged with bribery. Federal law prohibits bribery of foreign officials. Federal law prohibits bribery of foreign officials. Normally, many organizations tend to bribe foreign officials because they feel like, well, they need a dollar to be able to do what is wrong. Okay, but when that happens, it doesn't really help. Or they need a pound sterling, or they go to other countries, they bribe them with any sort of valuable stuff to be able to get them to do what is wrong. At the end of the day, you are just messing up the global world and the community you find yourself. Please, let's try to stay away. And if we know somebody involved in that, we advise the person from what we have acquired from this class to be able to at least get that thing through. And that is what we term as bribery. False pretenses describes a broad category of crimes involving activities intending to do what? Deceive others by making false claims, okay? Or to obtain goods by using fake tricks, false pretense, okay? False pretense. I do not have that capacity to do that, but I have to find a way for you to feel like, yes, I can do that. So it describes a broad category of what? Crime involving activities intending to deceive others by making false claims. Okay, that is false pretense, or to obtain goods by using fake tricks. All right, they have example, a person who makes false statement to a bank to be able to get what? A loan. Okay, they make a false pretense to a bank to be able to get a loan. That is, sorry, that is an example of a false pretense. All right. Somewhere else we will say you are a confident trickster. You're a confident trickster. You go to the bank for all papers, for all documents, look like it's true. It's not true. You're finding a way to deceive the bank. So if you don't have a good risk analysis officer, he will tend to just fool you, and then he will just approve or sign the document for him to go and get the loan. This is very important. And again, if you know what you are doing, you always be on point to be able to stay away from this kind of problems. So federal and state statute govern acts considered unlawful false pretense. Okay. Good. Now, forgery. What is that? We have said a lot about forgery. Anybody want to share anything on forgery practically? What has happened to you? Anybody?
Well, I have seen
forgery.
someone. Go ahead.
Continue, Ahmed. Continue.
Well, I have seen someone like forging their sick leave. So they wrote the dates in either in a different color, if I remember, or like it was very obvious. It was very obvious. Of course, we didn't take major action. We just told them that no, this is not acceptable. Okay, and it went, but it was very obvious.
Forgery of sick leave. Okay.
Yes, and it was not even big long sick leave. It was just like 6 days.
That is what I'm asking you. You tend to ask yourself, why this nonsense? This doesn't even make sense. But they are doing it, right?
They did it. Yes, they did it.
That is how it is.
And I think I did it once.
Oh.
But I was clever. No, actually, there was a form and I need to change a word in it. Well, instead of going the whole way again of preparing another form, getting all the signatures, and it was a hustle, I managed to change it. I'm not happy with that, of course, but it's a skill I had.
It is very true. And I have seen so many of this. I don't want to say 10 or 5. I've seen uncountable number of that, especially doctor's notes. Doctor's notes from employees. At a point, about 3 employees were using the same doctor. Probably they think nobody's looking at it. They go online, find the doctor's form, and then they print it out and then just put anything on that sheet and bring it out. That the doctor say I should stay home for 3 days. Doctor say I should stay home for 1 week. And then they will stay home. Okay? But at the end of the day, I took 1 or 2 of them and I look at it and I find out that, no, this is not right. So I started looking at it. So me and my HR personnel, we were talking about, and I was like, you know what? We're going to call this medical office. So we call medical office and asked if that person have visited there. They don't know this patient. They don't know the patient. Okay? And this is what I keep saying. People will find a way to steal no matter what it is. If that opportunity is there, they will find a way to steal. Olias, go ahead with your Rodas, go ahead with your what do we call it? Experience. Rodas, go ahead. Okay, probably Rodas is cannot hear us, and then you're gonna go through moving forward. If she comes back, we'll be able to get her. So falsifying a signature on a check or on the endorsement of a check is an example. Like I said, they falsify the signature and then the doctor's note. It's not right. Okay, but they brought it to get a sick leave. Like Awad is saying, they changed the date, the time, but they were not smart because the color of the pen or whatever does not conform. You know, at the end of the day, somebody will look at it. So you have to always think and say, hey, whatever I'm doing, is it right? What is it that I'm putting myself into? Is it possible somebody will see this and get a problem along the line? If genuinely you want to at least take 6 days, why don't you see the doctor and tell them you have pains? And the doctor will give you some medicine for you to stay for a couple of days. Why don't you be honest about what you are doing? You know, so you tend to falsify documents, but one day somebody will find out what it is and you'll be in trouble. So the act of signing another person's name to a credit card, slip contracts, or other official document without permission is also considered forgery. It's also considered forgery, you know, and we got to be careful. There are times when spouses in place of the of other partner because they aren't there, but they know the signature in some document. Oh yes, you know, that's what Whitney is also saying. Yes, some spouse tends to do what? Tends to sign signatures of other spouse. Last week I shared something with you about a client I had that decided to do a fictitious W-2 and tax returns and signed the wife signature and then sent it to immigration. At the end of the day, it became a criminal thing because he claims he cannot find a wife. Although it was a commercial marriage, he claimed he cannot find a wife. But when he sent the W-2 and the tax returns to the immigration, they told him, we still want to see your wife before we can renew that 1-year green card for you. So he ended up looking for the lady, and the lady came in. The lady was like, I'm not going to accept you sending a fake document in my place. You know, it happens. Sometimes, thank you for that, Winnie. Sometimes a husband will decide to sign a wife's check and then withdraw money or deposit the check because he can sign it. All these things are illegal because you don't have the person's authorization to do it. The fact that you are in marriage does not mean that you can just take your wife's what do we call it, bank card and then swipe it anyhow, or credit card or check or something like that and then sign it. No, it's illegal. Until the person gives you the clear approval to do that, you got to watch out because you don't know when stuff will go wrong. You don't know when stuff will go wrong. If today he or she is not happy and she finds out that this is what you have done and reports you to the police, you are in trouble. Or he or she raised the alarm that I did not cash this check. It's not me. They will try to investigate. And they will find out that she or he did not sign, but you. It's very important to look at that. Thank you, Winnie, for that experience as well. So now about perjury. Perjury. This is what most of us normally do. Okay, most of us who do that. You go before a commissioner and everything that the commissioner asks you say yes, 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 yes. He says swear, then you swear. At the end of the day, most people lie before oath. You go to the court, sometimes they tell you to raise your hand and swear before the court that everything you say is true and whatever, you say yes. I was reading about a case just about yesterday. Sorry. And before they call the case, the defendant was asked to also swear and then confirm whatever he has submitted is true and then is genuine. At the end of the day, guess what? The defendant stated in the document, the process document, that he lives in maybe New York, but when he came to court, he said, I live in Connecticut. Forgetting that in the document, you have sworn an oath that whatever you have written in the document is right. At the end of the day, these are some of the things the lawyer based on to punch the guy in a courtroom, okay, for them to do what? To make a win. You know, you cannot just be inconsistent in your document and in your oral submission. All right, this is not what you can do, and all these things can get you behind bars. So often a person knowingly lies in court while under oath. That's exactly what I'm saying. They lies. They know that what they are saying is not true, but they're gonna go ahead and say it because they think they're finding a way to get out from the problem. They're finding a way to get out from the suit. They're finding a way to defend themselves. But one thing we normally don't know is whatever you say in court, people are listening. Because you don't listen to yourself, never think people don't know what is going on. But if they record, if the court is ever recorded in session, guess what? When everything is done, just sit down and listen to yourself. And you realize that all those things that you were saying, somebody will say they are all rubbish. So it's very important to know that before you swear an oath, you should know that you are telling the truth and only the truth. All right. Often giving false information on a government filing form, such as tax returns. So if you get customers that you want to process their tax returns or file their tax returns, you ask for their IDs. They feel reluctant to bring their IDs. But at the end of the day, they don't know they're going to be responsible for the tax returns which is being filed. All right. So that is what we have for perjury. That's what we have for perjury. Again, we have embezzlement. Yes, those who are in charge of the financial matters in an organization, those who have a P card. You know the P card? The purchase card. Awad, do you have a purchase card?
I think yes, I do. Actually, I'm using the card, bank card directly.
If you have a P card, then maybe I might have to see if you can take me out for a dinner, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, that is no business issues. We just have to use the card, man. That's why they gave it to you, you know? Exactly. Like I'm saying, the card was given for a purpose. And the purpose was what? Business purpose. Okay? So you don't just try to use the card for your own benefit, but to the advantage of what? The company. That's why they give you the P card. In the past, I have seen so many fraud in relating to P card. Okay, someone will go out there with a family and then book a 5-class hotel and use the P card to swipe. Okay, at the end of the day, he will tell them, is there any discount, whatever it is, please give it to me on my rewards card. Sorry for that. So he will kill the company in both ways. He will kill the company in both ways. He will use the P card to buy gas, fill the company truck, and then use it to go to farm. He will use the P card to fill up the tank of the company truck and go to funerals. He will use the P card to fill out the tank of the company truck and then use to convey stuff for his personal interest. This is what I'm saying. It's for a business purpose. For a business purpose. You know, at the end of the day, some will say, okay, we are going for a trip. They go for the trip, and then they will do what? They go to a specific hotel, go and tell them, can you write me a receipt that I came to sleep over here? They take the money. At the end of the day, they go and sleep in their friend's house. The P card is suffering. At the end of the day, investigation will show that you did not spend the card according to the company regulations. And you will find yourself on the other side of the law. And trust me, sometimes that little money, by the time you realize you have been disgraced. So as business scholars trying to climb the ladder to that executive level position, it is my advice that you stay clean. You stay clean, no matter what it is, you'll be fine. If you are able to live within your means, if you live within your means, you'll be fine. If you want to live a lavish life, then you have to look for the means, but not through illicit ways, but by working hard. Get a side hustle job, and then at least use that to do what? To furnish your lavish way of living. Okay, so embezzlement is wrongful taking of money, okay, or other property entrusted to a person as a part of their what? Employment. As part of your employment. In the past, I've spoken about people stealing pens, not just one pen like this. They steal in bundles, in packets. Okay, people steal the printing papers, the A4 sheets and all those. Yes, they do steal them home. Okay, in the past, I've seen a manager. He purchased equipment for the depot that he will use that machine to clean this, clean that. When everybody get out of the place, then you come and take all those machines and then take it home. This is what happens, and we need to stay away. Okay, we have an example of a computer programmer who programs a bank's program that's an interest, okay, of a specific depositor's account will be split. It goes into his account, forgetting that there is a trace. There is a trace. One thing you have to know that whenever you are under financial stress, okay, whatever you will do, people will be able to trace it. And you have to be extra careful in doing that. Extortion. Extortion. Yes, whenever we talk about extortion, you tend to see people in authority. People in authority, they will take the money from you by force because they feel like if you do not give them the money, they will not perform. Okay? At the end of the day, they are threatening you to pay the money. That's what I said. Sometimes when extortion becomes too much, you force people to do what is wrong. Because if he cannot make that payment, he will go and do it otherwise. Okay? He will dare you. Okay? That's why in many countries or many organizations, you see people fighting here and there because somebody is not doing what is expected of them. I'm not sure if somebody wants to share anything about extortion, as I believe there is a lot out there. In your practice as a businessman, have you met any extortion? How was it? Anybody? Practical example of extortion.
Is it like when somebody kidnap a child for taking a money in exchange of a child or something like that?
Oh, no, come again. I did not hear you. Sorry.
Is it when you, it is like when somebody kidnap a child or somebody kidnap anybody to exchange him for money from the family or parents of this child, or it is different because the meaning is so broad?
Okay, kidnapping in itself is a whole different story. Okay, kidnapping in itself is a whole different story. But again, if you want to use
money as an exchange for the kidnap person.
That's
This
true.
is definition. Yes.
You are right.
Extortion.
You're,
Yes.
you are right. You know, in the past, I have experienced something like a banker, right? A banker that didn't want to sign either a loan amount or something like that. And yeah, a banker, somebody went to seek for a loan and the bank manager refused it. You know what they did? They kidnapped the bank manager. And when they kidnapped the bank manager, they asked him to do what? Pay a very huge ransom for that. This is an extortion. It's an extortion because you're finding a way to do what? To get something done. Okay? This is an extortion, but what we are talking about here being extortion, to me, I don't want you to go very close to what we call it. What were you talking about right now, Nora? Kidnapping. I don't want you to go there. I don't want us to fully discuss that. But in a process, yes, it could be a form of distortion. Extortion. But in this particular extortion I want us to talk about is you have an obligation. You have a job to do. We want to stick to business. Although I have given you one kidnapping that can happen. Yes, if you do not sign this form for us, we will come and kidnap you and you will sign. And when we kidnap you, we will take money from you. That's extortion. But in business, you have a responsibility, just like you, Awad, and everybody else. You're supposed to sign a document for me. What forms do you normally sign, Awad? Sick leave, right? You have to sign for somebody to be able to go on sick leave. You have to sign for somebody to be able to go on vacation. Oh, Awad, I forgot that one. Promotions. Promotions with retrospective salary increment.
Well, it is difficult. I cannot consider it because many people are involved, including some of the top management. So unless you are willing to pay many people, supervisors and direct managers and property managers and the HR managers and the owner.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. What about what I just said? The promotions, especially with those promotions that come with retrospective increment, which means about 2-3 years, they're going to pay you. That's where you guys make it so difficult, right?
We don't have something like that.
Oh, you don't have that? Okay.
No.
In the government sector, yes, public sector, we do have that. Okay. Maybe you have been promoted. You have written the promotion exam, you have passed. And it probably might take maybe about 6 months to a year for them to clear you, financial clearance, right? When that happens, okay, and you are going to start receiving the money, somebody will have to clear you to do that. And many a times you find these HR and finance guys trying to put in that kind of extortion because you need their clearance to be able to start receiving your money. They will delay in processing your document. So in order for you to avoid that delayance, you have to do what? Okay, you have to pay. And that payment is not by your will. You are being forced because if you do not pay, your document is gonna what? Delay. So you are being forced to do what? To pay the money. Okay, so this is extortion. And many a times you see that especially in promotions. Okay, they will find every means to take money from you, especially in the underdeveloped countries. Although in the developed countries, we see that. We see that, but in a very nice way. In a very nice way. Okay? Extortion is found everywhere. But you have to be able to at least stay away as a professional, because at the end of the day, you are serving people. Okay? When, like I said earlier on, if you take the money from me today, I'm going to go back to my office. I'll also take it from somebody. Right? And this is going to go on and on and on and on and on. Like I always tell people when I go for outreach to give talks and all those kind of things. See, where I don't want to see extortion and bribery in my life is the health sector. I don't want to see bribery. I don't want to see extortion in the health industry, period. Do not use people's life to gamble. Okay? The person is in need of health care. That's where you're going to say that, oh, if you don't pay this money, we cannot get the blood. But this is what we do. This is what you find people doing. Like I always tell my friends that if I ever become a CEO of a specific hospital, all those people working under me will either work or they will resign. Okay? Because it is very important to know that healthcare is life and death affair. And when you are in healthcare, you have to make sure that you go all the way out to help and support people. That is now where you have to make sure that you extort money from people. It's very unfortunate. Anybody have something to say? All right, good. So that's extortion. Difference between extortion and bribery is in bribery, both parties are willing to participate. Whereas in extortion, one person is willing, the other party is unwilling. The paying party is unwilling, just that the receiving party is willing and pushing for that person to pay the money. That is extortion for you. That is extortion for you. Thank you, Noran. Thank you, Awad. Other business-related crimes. Other business-related crimes. The number of crimes involving businesses has grown. Okay, with researchers suggesting there are now as many as 4,500 federal crimes in the United States alone. Yes, 4,500 crimes in the United States US code. Okay, and this tends to create so much misfeelings. Okay, as business practice, as business practices and technology change, new types of bad acts arise for which Congress and states enact laws, okay, carrying criminal penalties and forfeiture of illegal benefits. You see, as we move forward in life, technology advancing, those bad guys are also advancing. That is why it is very important to always advance in what you do and try to do what? Find a way to prevent people from destroying and getting things done in a bad way. Because if you don't do that, one, it's going to affect the community, it's going to affect your organization, it's going to affect you in person. Probably that person is not taking the money from you individually, but at the end of the day, it will affect you indirectly. Okay, it is very important. Some examples of crimes related in business: credit card fraud, using stolen or counterfeit credit cards. Yes, you go to what do we call it? A supermarket to buy something, you use a fake or counterfeit credit card, thinking that by the end of the day, it's going to process. Although now we have some processing companies instantly, they process it for you. But still, we still have the fake ones in there that at the end of the day, if you slide it in, you're still not going to process. So if you are now with this one of these processing agents that is able to dictate right away, then you are in trouble. Okay, identity theft. Identity theft. This goes on every now and then. Okay, it goes on every now and then. And I always advise people, be very careful, be cautious about your identity. That is the only thing you have. If somebody steals your identity, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Like I cited earlier on, that now it has gone to that level that as I'm talking right now, somebody can steal these, okay? And then do what? Get into a conversation with you, like me, on a Facebook like this, or something like this. When they intercept and they start doing that, you will never know. Fraud has gotten to that level. Fraud has gotten to that level, and identity is theft is now nothing for them. So you need to be very careful in whatever you do. In the past, in the United States, everybody want to protect their social security. What is your social security? 2233. What is your social security? 2233. He doesn't want to open his mouth to tell you because he's afraid somebody is going to hear the social security. But today, your telephone number alone, everybody will get to know you. Only your telephone number. I need your telephone number to know wherever you are. That's it. Okay, so we should be cautious and be careful about our surroundings and what we do. The last is environment, discharging waste into waterways. Discharging waste into waterways. Those who live in areas of such, we got to be careful because at the end of the day, we are destroying the environment for our own bad, and it's going to affect our offspring and our future generations. Criminal penalties in business. Okay, criminal penalties in business. As I said earlier on, businesses convicted of crimes typically pay large fines. They incur court injunctions, legal and other costs. But guess what? Some law allowed the RCOs, that is the responsible corporate officers, okay, to be charged, convicted and jailed sometimes. So before you accept a certain position, my brother, my fellow scholars, just make sure that you know what you are doing. You know what you are doing. You just don't think you are accepting the position because maybe it's going to elevate you, or people will say that, oh, he's the president, oh, he's a member of the board, oh, he's this, he's that. No, make sure you have the qualities and you can perform, because people will be under you and they will continue to at least do what? Do the bad thing under you, because you don't have the skills and the knowledge or technical know-how, you will not know. And when it comes to prosecution, you find yourself on the other side of the law. And we have to be extra careful when dealing with that. So in extreme cases, RICO, the business or its property may be what? Seized by the authority. Okay, so we got to be very careful. And in everything we do, it is imperative we know that we are doing what is right, and we presume to be in the right sense of performing our duties. I'm not sure if anybody have a question, something you don't understand. The floor is open. Anything you want to share before we get out? Anything you want to share?
Sir, I have an example, and it was very weird, so I thought this story would be interesting. It is related to the part about technological advancements, and how the frauds follow these advancements. Once in my company, my company have a global activity, and this happened in Asia, I think Japan or a country of this region. So somebody, a salesperson, have fake documents and faked a supplier that he's selling to, and he ran out with around the number I remember, it was $30 million. And then he did a face-off operation, so he changed his face so nobody would know his identity anymore. So this was an odd fraud that happened in my environment related to technology.
Thank you, Nora. You know, these are some of the things that it happens. It happens, and it happens a lot. And that's why I said earlier on, wherever you find yourself, be ready to learn and be learning extra. You know, because those people always want to be ahead, the bad guys. So if you are not ready to learn, they will outsmart you within a short period of time. You see, I had a similar customer, a similar issue and similar incident with a customer. I was there about 7 years ago, and one of my customers called me that, oh, I have somebody who want you to do his business returns and his business taxes and everything for him. So I'm going to give the person's number, your number to the person, then the person call you. I said, okay, that's fine. So the person came in. The person came in with an incorporation document in United States that the organization is incorporated, clean. I saw everything. I checked. Department of State have approved that company. Wow. Now, so I have to prepare his financial documents. And I'm like, this is what I will need. I have to interview you to know what you do, because I just don't take businesses. I just don't take jobs from people like that. I need to know what you do to be able to make the money. So I sat this gentleman down, and he's like, oh, I have my bank account here. I'll bring you the bank account. I said, okay, no problem. He brought the bank account. I see money going back and forth. Okay. Like about maybe 2 weeks, he was like, oh, can you please process this for me? Because I have to make sure I send it to the company that has given me the contract. I said, okay, no problem. We'll do that. But I need to sit down with you. I sat down with this gentleman. And one question I asked him, he never answered that question. He was unable to answer me. I said, what do you do for these monies to come into the account? It's like, oh, I work for international agencies. I print souvenirs and send the souvenirs to I said, what international agency is that? Can you tell me the international agency? You know, if you go to your accountant, if you go to your lawyer, if you go to your medical doctor, you should be very open. If you are not being open, it means you get a wrong medication when in terms of medicine, or in law, you get what? You get wrong advice and wrong judgment. Okay, in accounting, you end up getting a wrong calculations or whatever it is. So I kept asking him, he couldn't tell me. But from my experience, I tend to know that, hey, this is what we term as what? Can somebody tell me? He's trying to do what? He's trying to clean the dirty money. You understand? The money that he has acquired, the illicit money, the illegal money, he's trying to transfer the money from somewhere else into the United States. And we should be able to know exactly what you are doing on the other side to be able to bring the money in United States for it to be clarified by an accountant of a competent certificate. So at the end of the day, I decided not to do that job. And up to now, I have his document here. The guy was ready to pay me every money, any amount, for me to do it for him. But I said no. You understand? So at the end of the day, you find yourself in all this kind of business malpractices that if you don't know what you are doing, people will come in and play you with money. So if you are not smart, you end up finding yourself on the other side of the law. You are right. You are right, Noran. You are right. And at the end of the day, they will try to seal their face. They will not let you know what exactly goes on and be able to find a way to do the wrong thing. I really share your your experience, and I really understand what is going on. But again, you just have to be vigilant in what you do. And many a times, if it is above you, you report it to the upper supervisor or the upper management for them to keep an eye on that particular agency, that particular country, that particular management, to be able to track them. If you put them on an alert, they will be able to at least do a further check on them to see that maybe if not, it's not even one person involved, then they will start to at least question it. I hope, I'm not sure if somebody have something else or somebody want to talk about what Noran said. All right, so if there is nothing for us to discuss after bringing this session to an end, I'll let you go and rest. And then I'll see you next weekend. But before you go, please don't forget our assignment, the homework, and then the quiz is due on Sunday midnight by US time. Sunday
If the
midnight.
Moodle is in a good.
I just received an information from Sarah that it's up. So from here we can check it and then see. But again, if you do have an issue, please make sure you let me know before the end of the quiz. All right, before the end of Sunday, which is midnight. All right. If you have any issue, let me know so that I'll be able to support you.
I missed the first discussions and assignment because I have a trouble when I would like to submit your assignment. At the time, the Moodle, Windsor Moodle already down. That's why I couldn't answer. When I'm trying it again, due date is over. So could I answer it again or right for this first
who is
discussion?
this?
I'm Chan the sir, sir, right?
Oh, okay, Chan.
So
okay.
I also asked you in the private telegram. Yes, sir.
If you ask me, then I never receive anything from you. Okay. I never receive anything from you. But again, just send me a test. I'll be able to see what I can do. But we have to make sure that moving forward, we follow the schedule. All right. But send me a test as to your availability and we see what we can do. All right. All right, Jan.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right.
For the module 2, sir. Right. For
sure.
module 2, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Unless you are available today, I can open it for you. But if not, send me your availability.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Right. I will send, sir.
All right. I wish you all the best. Anybody with any issue before we say bye to each other? I don't know. The strong man is not strong anymore. So I'm trying to go and get some.
Professor.
Sure. So thank you, Awad and Ulia, Noran, Rodas, Judlin, Chan, Mansoon. Hey, Danya, I did not hear from you. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. See, we have to be able to make sure that the new baby is okay in the class. Okay. So if you have any issue along the line, please feel free to let us know, or any of the colleagues online that can help you. All right.
I will, sir. Thanks.
Okay. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you guys next weekend.
See you, sir.
Bye,
Bye,
Professor.
sir.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye, Sam. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Jocelyn.